Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting in order. Please rise for a pledge to allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now a moment of silence. Think about those who've gone before us. Thank you. You may be seated, please. Roll call.
Trustee Young.
Sit here, the flag anymore. You can't see who stands up.
Craig. Trustee Ryan.
Here?
Trustee Patton.
Here.
O'Malley.
Here.
Okay. Also present, and get going very quickly. This Attorney Gilchrist and Attorney Eagle.
And Attorney Alexander, what should we put for your last name for the record? All right, Alexander Bernstein. Alexander Bernstein, State Assistant, or additional attorney in the group. All right. Just as a reminder to everyone, as we've been doing for the past several meetings, so we have recording devices, so all the meetings are recorded. At this point, I'd like to open up a public hearing pursuant to Article 2 of the New York Eminent Domain Procedure Law for the purpose of determining the need and location of a public project prior to acquisition. The proposed public project is the acquisition of a permanent utility easement on and over real property located off Church Street, bearing the Rensselaer County Tax Map number 27.15-2-20, in connection with installation of a sanitary sewer, forced main, as part of the Village of Hoosick Falls Sanitary Sewer Upgrade Public Works Projects. This hearing will remain open for an hour. At this point, if there's anyone who would like to speak in regards to that, this is your time. Sorry, Andy, you have a few words to share first? Thank you, Andy.
Just a brief description of the proposed project. This proceeding is brought pursuant to the Eminent Domain Procedure Law in New York. The village, as you may know, is undertaking a public works project to upgrade existing sanitary sewer collection, conveyance, treatment, and disposal. In connection with that, most of the work is going to occur within public rights-of-way, but there are a few private properties over which sewer lines need to be located. The village has been successful in getting easements over those private properties except for one parcel. The village has been attempting to work with the property owner to obtain that easement. Those efforts have not been successful to date. The schedule for the public works projects includes seeking to go out for public bid for work in the early part of next year with the goal of having construction start during the next construction season 2018. In order to meet that time frame, this procedure has been commenced, which is to obtain the utility easement through eminent domain. Obviously, the property owner has every right to come in and comment tonight. Any member of the public has an opportunity to comment tonight. You should know that the village will continue to work with the property owner to obtain the easement through negotiation and agreement, but if that is unsuccessful, the public works project requires the sewer force main to go across the property, and if need be, we acquire that easement through eminent domain, and a court would determine the value of that utility easement that the village would need to pay for that. This public hearing tonight is to allow public comment. It's a necessary part of the procedure.
Thank you. I have a question.
Just one moment. And just so everyone understands, you have time to speak. When you speak, stand if you're able, and please announce your name and where you're from. So, would you like to speak?
Yes, certainly. My name is Jack Cattaneo. I'd like to know who is the landowner that you said you couldn't come to a settlement with. Can you tell me that?
It's my understanding, sir, and you are the property owner, correct?
Oh, I am.
Well, that's what the assessment roll for the
You can
village.
say my name. You can say my name. You said it's somebody that, you didn't mention my name, but I'm the guy, right?
Well, you're the record owner of the property at issue. That is correct, sir. And it's my understanding, I am the new village attorney. It's my understanding
What's your name?
My name is Andrew Gilchrist.
Gilchrist. Mr. Gilchrist.
Yes,
The letter that you sent me, I
Yes,
don't
sir.
have it with me. Do you have a copy of it?
I do.
May I see it, please? Then I'd like to,
Sir?
if I can, I don't want to tie up this whole agenda, but this is important to us.
Would you like to make a copy of it?
That'd be good, thanks.
Would you like to read it first, then I'll make a copy, so we can proceed?
There you go.
Their copy, do it.
Why don't you can refer to it now, and I'll make a copy for you while you're...
Andy,
Yeah.
do you need this for any reason? Do you want to speak now, or do you want to wait a couple minutes?
Anytime you're ready, sir.
Go for it, Mr. Catania.
Can I just take a look at this letter he sent, the attorney sent me?
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't bring it with me, I'm sorry.
The idea will be that we will leave the hearing open. We will continue on through the agenda as the hearing stays open for the next hour. But if at any point someone wants to speak up, so Mr. Catania, if you want to speak up, it takes time to read it and speak up, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to speak on this before we move on? Yes.
My name is Shelley Stiles, and I'm a member of the Hoosick River Greenways Steering Committee. We've been meeting since 2005. And I have a statement which I will leave with you all for your records. And I would like to say that seeking a utility easement is short-sighted for two reasons. One, you have a greenway on either side of this parcel, and the utility easement does not provide for access to and from the greenway. Two, an easement is much more confining here and in the long term than an easement document, than owning the land, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking you to put aside your wishes to acquire an easement and instead seek eminent domain over the parcel in its entirety. And if that should not happen, well, and these are some of the reasons why. It protects the maximum number of village amenities over the long term. And those include a link that we've been searching for more than a decade now between the southern parcel and the northern parcel. Mr. Catania's parcel is the only gap in the greenway, between those two sections of the greenway. It would help the village protect views from the existing greenway to the west. And what if the riprap needed repair in some future situation? Not owning the land would make it much more difficult for you to repair it and preserve what's left of the greenway. But if you do have to go the route of the easement, this is what I think the easement should include. The easement should extend over the entire parcel so that if something happens to the riprap, you are able to deal with that problem. It should explicitly allow public access across the parcel. The easement should explicitly permit resurfacing of the parcel in any fashion the village chooses. Right now, the greenway is stone dust. In the future, it may be pavement or permeable paving. Whatever the village wants in the future, over the long term, is what should be allowed by the easement. It should allow passage for vehicles doing maintenance work on the greenway north of the parcel, of the Catania parcel. It should allow the village to gate the greenway, the parcel if necessary, to protect against ATV use, against who knows what, but that should be your option. And there's a long-standing drainage issue on that piece of land that should be addressed while the sewer is being constructed. And you probably know that right now our local snowmobile club uses the northern section of the greenway, and it does so by agreement of the trustees upon recommendation by the steering committee and the Greenway Steering Committee. And if you wish that to remain the case, if you wish to be able to consider the option of allowing snowmobile use, then the language of the easement has to include that possibility in some fashion or another. And finally, this is irrelevant to the easement, but I'll just say it anyway. Any work done to put the sewer in should return the greenway to its present or a better condition.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley.
You ready? He's ready.
Sir?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. This is not the first time I've appeared before your council. I've been here before, and unfortunately, I don't have any legal representation because my experience with attorneys in Hoosick Falls is not good. My first attorney unfortunately lied to me about some issues we were trying to solve, problems we were trying to solve. I refused to pay him, but he threatened to take me before a local judge to get a judgment against me. The second attorney I had, when I tried to get a quitclaim deed on Tom Jepson's property, the attorney, I believe he created a fake tax bill. I presented it the last time I was here to your council. There was an attorney present who was a member of the court, and nothing happened. This is the document I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Is the press here? Huh?
Yes, there's one member behind you, and
Who is it? Okay, I'm gonna give you two. Sorry. Who else?
yeah, I can hand them out if you like.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Three down there.
Oh, one more, sir. if I could.
We'll take one extra on this side, thanks.
Are you Ann Bourne? Can you explain to these folks where you got these numbers from? It has your signature on it, and it has Mr. Sternberg name at the top.
I have one of those.
Yeah, sure.
This document is dated 1999, correct?
Yes, I didn't put that stuff. Whatever is on there I didn't touch it.
No, I'm just saying, it's dated August 9th, 1999. It's 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
This just comes off the tax bills that go to Rensselaer County. If not paid, Rensselaer County holds a lien on your property.
Mr. Sternberg advised me that those taxes had to be paid first.
Right.
Tom Jepson told me, as you probably know, everything was paid up. No, but it was because I didn't pay these, miss. This was somebody's idea. This was either yours or Mr. Sternberg's idea. That's number one.
Wasn't my idea.
So I'm sorry, to be clear, you're saying these were paid or they weren't paid?
I didn't pay them because they were false.
Okay.
I took those right to Tom Jepson, who was a pretty good man trying to scratch out a living here in Hoosick Falls with his above-the-ground surplus store. That's what I called it. And he said, Jack, I'm going to sell you this property. I paid all these taxes. But that was a lot of money I was looking at the time. I invested a lot of money in the property. The property that you're talking about here is not farmland. It's not hunting property. It's exclusive piece of real estate. That's what it is. 4 pieces sitting on Hoosick Falls, yes, or an exclusive piece of real estate. I hope you guys read books. I'd like to recommend a book, On the Beach. It's about a nuclear exchange, and it was a nuclear cloud traveling all over the world, and it was the end of humanity. And they made a movie with Ava Gardner and Gregory Peck. And Ava Gardner was, she was described by many people, agents, producers, directors, as one of the most beautiful natural women on the planet. there is a likeness to Ava Gardner here in Hoosick Falls, and it's the falls itself. And I have a picture that I took with a $10 camera. And this is why I bought these 4 pieces of property. This is Ava Gardner to me, as far as your town is concerned. I've been coming to Hoosick Falls since 1948 or 49.
You want me to hand those out, Jeff?
I got it.
We're good.
And this easement that is yet another chance to take my property and tell me we're going to negotiate with you, but it's going to be a fair market price. Is that right, Counselor? Where is he? Right? Isn't that what you?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not taking the property. What the easement will accomplish, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is we will basically have access to a strip to
Sir.
install piping
Thank
and
you.
then reestablish it back to.
I don't
where
want
it
you to
was.
lay your hands on my property. That's why I came 200 miles to talk to you. And for this attorney to stand up here and during his little presentation, he didn't want to say who I was. I feel sorry for the guy, to tell you the truth. This is who I am, sir. I'm a decorated, retired New York City member of the Highway Patrol in good standing. And I came here to make an investment in Hoosick Falls. And that's exactly what I did. If you want to do something with my property, buy it, the whole thing, because I never offered this property, even 1 inch, for sale to anybody. It was going to be sold as a package, and in addition to not having legal counsel tonight, which would be terrific, a guy who I respect, my real estate broker, he's gone missing in action. Leon Barkley, he's a nice guy. And he's gone. But who did you negotiate with, sir, when you said you can't come to any agreement with the owner? Who did you negotiate with? Me?
Sir, the prior village attorney held
Peterson,
several...
Mr. Peterson.
Mr.
Patterson.
Patterson, sorry.
Had several discussions with a law firm and with Mr. Barkley,
Yeah.
and I, in fact, have spoken with Mr. Barkley as well.
What happened to Mr. Patterson?
He retired.
He retired. You retired him, or
No, we were retired.
No,
He-
that's what I'm getting
no,
at.
no, he
They
retired.
retired him for some
He
reason.
retired.
He retired.
Well,
He's entitled.
when I received that registered letter from you, I called your office, and your secretary was very professional. I said, would you, I forgot your name again.
Gilchrist.
Mr.
Gilchrist,
Gilchrist.
I'm sorry. Mr. Gilchrist. I said, have Mr. Gilchrist call me. She said, oh, Mr. Catania, that's against the law. He won't call you back. I said, oh, really? Okay. This is all a secret? That's what I said to her. Did she tell you that?
No, and
Okay. All right.
I
Well, there's
can
your...
attest to that discussion, sir. That was
Okay.
not part of
Well, you can ask her when you get a hold of her. She's a nice lady.
it. I appreciate that.
So, sir, I'm here to say, respectfully, keep your hands off my property. It doesn't belong to you. This picture, it's some picture, isn't it? Huh? I was going to put a restaurant overlooking that picture. And unfortunately, a United States Senator, Big Al D'Amato, they called him, he tried to rip me off for a $15,000 kickback on a loan I was trying to get through the SBA. Yeah, Al D'Amato. You know what he does now? He's a lobbyist in Washington. Big Al, that's what the banker called him. He said, Jack, don't blame me. Blame Big Al. So that's my, basically that's my plea to you. I'm sorry if I'm a little rough on the edges. It would be nice if I had an attorney here with me. But the attorneys in Hoosick Falls are despicable. The two I had, anyhow. I went to the FBI. You know this. She was sitting here the last time I made a presentation similar to this. I went to the FBI, and the FBI said, we'll look into it. Well, nothing happened to Al D'Amato. They could have put Big Al behind bars, but the FBI doesn't arrest United States senators.
Can you summarize at the end? 'Cause
So
we're-
one of the things I'd like you to remember is this is not farmland.
So we can take it for taxes.
This is not farmland. It's not hunting territory. It's exclusive real estate. And there's the photograph made with an $8 or $9 camera that shows you the beauty of your community. And sir, you can your group here, you can make an investment in Hoosick Falls by buying my property. That's what I did. I made an investment in Hoosick Falls. As these pieces became available, I bought them.
Okay.
And I didn't have a lot of money, so it was a very costly proposition.
If we were interested in purchasing them, would we contact you or Mr. Barkley?
We could talk right now.
No, we can't talk right now. This is an open meeting and we have an agenda. But I can give you my email address and we can certainly speak on the phone.
I don't have a computer. I'm a Neanderthal, as you could probably imagine.
All right.
And I want to tell you, the language that I want to use, I'm not using because of all the nice people that are here this evening. But I want them to know, in no uncertain terms, that I am respectfully asking you all, keep your hands off my property. I don't care. I'm ready to go to court. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put that right in front of the judge. I've been in front of judges before. I'm going to say, Judge, they want to ruin my property. They want to take from me this, my Ava Gardner, if you will. And if you see the movie On the Beach, you'll see why Ava Gardner. Oh, here's a little antidote. Ava Gardner. It was the end of humanity, and the director said to her, Ava, you look so beautiful. Don't show up here tomorrow with makeup because, after all, you read the script.
So respectfully,
tomorrow is the end of mankind. So she said, okay, thank you. And the next day she showed up for work.
Sir, I'm going to have to respectfully ask you to stay on point here.
The director, this is about this.
You expressed your sentiments about your.
The director called her
beauty of the
over and he
property.
said, Ava, I asked you to show up today. It's the end of humanity. You can't look this good. She said, guess what? I'm not wearing any makeup. And that is a waterfall without any makeup. It's a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
And it's here, but you folks don't realize what you have.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
And it belongs to me, not the waterfall, but the property that you want to mess with. And that's why I'm here. And thank you. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if I took up all of your time. And
All right. Thank you, Mr. Catania.
yeah,
Anyone else like to speak on this issue?
Counselor, Mr. Gillespie.
Gilchrist.
Mr. Gilchrist,
Gilchrist.
please
What's sir? There's a.
don't waste any time.
You grabbed a bunch of extra papers there.
Oh, these are extras?
Yeah, these I believe are yours.
And just in case you want to say, this is the restaurant that I was going to put in.
What?
And the old mayor come up to me one day with people around, he goes, Jack,
Mr. Catania, we have to move on. Thank you.
you gonna open up a topless joint?
Mr. Catania, please.
I said, oh.
Mr.
One-
Catania,
You know, you ever feel that way?
we need to move on.
You gotta do that down in Troy. They want
Thank
those
you.
topless
Thank
pictures.
you.
I had no intent.
I know, she's on.
Officer, here's the place I was gonna open.
All right.
I sent it down there.
All right. We will remain. The hearing will remain open for I think another about 40 or so minutes. In the meantime, we're going to proceed through The two resolutions on the agenda we will not do until the public hearing is over. So we're going to move on to the presentation on EPA's TANA, Technical Assistance Needs Assessment. We have here Larissa Romanowski of EPA. Larissa's over there. Kirby Webster of Skio Solutions. And I forgot your name, sir. I'm sorry. Joel, thank you. So if you guys would like to take it away. And thank you for being here.
I'm just going to go up there.
Certainly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larissa Romanowski, and I'm a Public Affairs Specialist with the Environmental Protection Agency out of Region 2. As many of you know, this past summer, the St. Gobain McCaffrey Street facility was listed on the federal National Priorities List, commonly known as Superfund. And since that time, we've had a couple of conversations with the mayor and the supervisor related to technical assistance. That is really opportunities that are available to assist the community with understanding and participating in the Superfund cleanup process. So as a result of those discussions, we had proposed tapping into one of our programs to conduct something called a Technical Assistance Needs Assessment. And we have Kirby Webster with us here today representing Skio Solutions. And she is going to be talking with you a little bit more about the program, to answer your questions, and then to talk a little bit about next steps and how to be involved. And the other thing I do want to mention is that we are planning this in coordination with both the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and with the New York State Department of Health. So did you want to?
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of words. I just want to mention that
Jim, you should introduce yourself for
I'm
the 5
sorry.
people who don't know you.
My name is Jim Morris. I work for New York State DEC, Division of Environmental Remediation. We're working on the project here in Hoosick Falls. I just want to mention that the McCaffrey Street site still is the state lead site. Since it was placed on the NPL, EPA brings some resources to McCaffrey Street site, one of which is the needs assessment that Larissa mentioned. We, meaning the DEC and New York State DOH, are working with the EPA on this needs assessment, and we look forward to working with the agencies and the community as we move forward with it.
And with that, we just want to go ahead and introduce Kirby Webster from Skio, and she's going to give a little bit more information, and we're available to answer your questions.
Thanks, Larissa. Hello, everyone. So as Larissa mentioned, my name's Kirby Webster. I work for Skio Solutions, and we're actually an environmental consulting company. We're actually based in Charlottesville, Virginia. But the reason that I'm here tonight is because we work on one of EPA's, one of several programs that EPA has to help provide technical assistance to communities who are dealing with cleanups, hazardous waste cleanups. And so the program is called TASK. It stands for Technical Assistance Services for Communities. And the program actually offers a lot of different educational opportunities and different types of services along with a needs assessment. We provide help to people across the country and on a lot of different projects. So I have more of these brochures if anybody's interested in the TASK program itself and understanding more about it. I can leave them on the table so people can pick them up. And I'm just gonna talk.
Can we have a couple right now and sort of pass them around the room
That's
so
a
people
great
can
idea.
go through it?
Thank you. So I
Give it to
also
Brian.
brought a few more.
You'll do it all. Just kidding. Give me some.
So I'm just using this as my talking points, and I brought copies of that as well. So if there's anything that I'm saying that you want to remember, it's probably on these notes, or feel free to ask me. So I've already talked a little bit about TASK and about who I am. So now I just wanted to talk about what a needs assessment is. And as Larissa mentioned, the purpose of a needs assessment is to understand people's technical needs associated with the cleanup. And those types of needs would be like information needs or communication needs, preferences for types of communication, or suggestions for for different types of assistance that you might need. And the goal is to ensure that the needs related to your cleanup are being met. So, how do we do this TANA? In order to do the TANA, we start by gathering information, and the best information that we like to gather is by talking with anyone who's interested in talking to us.
Sure. Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions yet? No? Okay.
I think we're still digesting.
I know. I feel like I should slow down a little bit to make sure everybody's. Do you need more copies of anything? More brochures? Here's some more if anybody needs them. All right, so I was just going to talk a little bit about what a needs assessment, what the process is to do a needs assessment. And so myself and one of my colleagues will have conversations with whomever is willing to talk to us. So if any of you would like to talk to us, please let me know and I'll write down your contact information and we'll set up a time for us to chat. Once we're able to have conversations with all of the different stakeholders that are involved in the cleanup, in the site, we take all of that information, we put it into a short report, usually 4 to 6 pages, so it's not super long. And that report compiles all of the concerns that we've heard, so that everything we've heard is in one place. And then we take those concerns and turn them into recommendations, so ideas of how those concerns, how those needs can be met. And so if you've been willing to talk to us, if you've participated in it, then once we have the draft report, we send it out to you or give you a chance to take a look at the draft to make sure that your opinions are accurately included in the needs assessment. And then if it makes sense, if there's a lot of recommendations and people want to prioritize them, then we can have a meeting in order to do that, or figure out if that's something that makes sense with this TANA. So the types of conversation topics that we would be hoping to touch on when we talk to people, and I just have these listed out on the slide too, is your main questions or concerns about the cleanup itself, if you've had sufficient information, if you've had access to it or gotten sufficient information so far, and what you would like moving forward, how people like to receive information. So some people like to receive it on paper or in presentations or listening sessions, things like that. And then anyone that we'll talk to, we'll ask if there's anyone else that they know that they think would like to talk to us. And provide people with a chance to just tell us anything else that they think that we should know.
So, sir, is this as it relates to the Saint-Gobain site, but if additional sites are added, will they also be included? If they're added, so if another
It's
site's
really
added to
about
the NPL?
any technical assistance needs related to any of the cleanups. We'll be keeping track of what we hear.
Okay.
And so, I mean, as I understand it, you guys have multiple different sites going on here.
Yeah.
And so as much as we can help to understand if the confusion's related to a specific site or all of the sites or some of them but not all of them, or the confusion is about all of them maybe, that would all be in this report. So it will not change if another site ends up going on to the NPL, there's no difference at all from the needs assessment perspective. This is a global cleanup question assessment.
Good.
Excellent.
So are you like general contractors of cleaning everything up? Is that
Am I?
no, your company.
No, we actually do not do any cleanup.
So are you more like a community liaison type thing with EPA and the whatever?
A portion of our company is, yes. We do more of the community interactions.
It's kind of like we're trying to start the conversation of how to gather the information and serve the community and get an understanding to everyone. And this is kind of the first step. In fact, one of the things I was gonna see if we can get a blank piece of paper to pass around if you want to start, because I know there's probably about 5 to 10 people in this room who would sign up right now if you
Oh,
wanted
to talk
that.
to me? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. Yep.
But that's kind of the idea of this presentation, and one of the questions that I had asked, because we'd had some discussions with EPA, was what Brian brought up was the possibility of bringing in and cataloging the information from the multiple state Superfund sites along with the MTL site, and that would be hugely helpful for us.
Excellent. And that's, thank you for the segue. So the goal is that you all will have this document, and then that is the end of the project for me. How any of these recommendations get implemented, there are a number of different entities that could be part of that, but the end of the project that I'm working on right now will be just to provide the document.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
I had just two, just because I most of these I already know, I have an idea on, but who pays for this service? Is that part of the EPA support and MPL listing?
The EPA pays through, it's a headquarters contract. And then I believe I don't know where the money comes from for this site, but usually if it's a PRP-led site, some of the money can be pumped back from the PRP, but EPA handles all of that. It's not anything that I am aware nor knowledgeable about.
But the village doesn't.
Absolutely
assume any
not.
of the
There's
cost.
no cost to anybody here, no.
What's the timeline you're looking for to get information from people, and then like say if you get everything in the next 2 weeks, what's the timeline for the report to come out?
It's unlikely I'd get everything in the next
No, I don't
2 weeks.
expect that. Just in terms of gathering the information first, and then after the information is gathered, getting the report out. Well, what's sort of the overall timeline? Not assuming it'll happen in 2 weeks.
I mean, it really depends on how quickly we can set up the conversations with people that are willing to talk to us.
Okay.
And so I guess in a best case scenario would be to speak with people over the next month or two, and then the report would be, I don't know, within 3 weeks or so of the final conversation, I would guess.
Thank you.
I would think this winter sometime.
Yeah, I think our goal is kind of a January-ish time frame. But it's more important, I think, from everybody's perspective to make sure that everyone who we want to talk to gets talked to, and not to rush the report and miss people that maybe weren't available because of the holidays or travel or something else. But, we'll be wanting to talk to people both in person and on the phone. So some people prefer to talk in person, some people would rather just talk on the phone. The conversations are generally, they're usually between like 15 minutes and an hour, depending on how much information people want to provide to us, and any information is useful.
All right. I would like to work with you guys to get some language out, to get a Facebook post out to the community so that they have access to the information and understand. I mean, it doesn't sound like you guys, we're going to be talking about deeply technical things about the cleanup, but it's more of here are your questions about the process or the cleanup, and that those are your concerns.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I will be listening, and particularly listening to what people want more information about. Do you want more technical information? Do you want more non-technical information? Do you not want to hear about it anymore? Like all of those types of things is what I'll be listening to, and I mean, I come into every community as a blank slate, so I will look forward to hearing what anybody has to share with us. And
careful what you wish for.
For listening?
Watch out for that one.
You gotta give that one like 2 hours. Right, Larry?
Board, do you have any other questions?
So I'll pass around a piece of paper, and if anybody would like to sign up, please do.
Any other questions, Bob?
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you would just leave your contact with us while you're making these calls in case. I had stepped out for a call, so I just came in only half of it, but some of that information, if you're making calls, we encourage people to call us to double check on who you are.
Oh.
So if you could leave your contact with us, especially at the holiday season.
I would love to.
In this way,
Thank you, Bob.
I
Very
don't
smart.
cold call anybody, so I won't be randomly calling people. It'll be people who volunteer to talk to us, and then if somebody who's talked to us says, you might want to talk to my neighbor or something like that, then we would start off the conversation with, I got your name from this other person. But yes, I would
Yes,
absolutely
please.
love to give, yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That it?
Any other questions? All right, thank you for coming up and presenting for us.
You're welcome.
All right, we're gonna move on. Again, the public hearing is still open, so we have probably about another half hour on that, a little bit less. If anyone wants to share on that, raise your hand. Otherwise, we're gonna move on. Starting with announcements and correspondence, I have 3 to pass on. The first one is dealing with a situation in Oak Mitsui at 81st Street. They are looking to make some zoning changes. What they have right now are multiple zoning designations on the same parcel. And they've already started to work with the planning board. Mark, the code enforcement officer, knows about it. The county knows. Andy knows. So I just want to make sure that this is what's going on right now as they're in the process of working on this. This is the letter and a map. Andy, do you want to share anything on this? Or, I mean, it's just kind of, I just want people to know that it's in the process. That's all. Really for the board.
So they would make the changes, or we would do that?
They're asking the planning board to look into making changes, and the planning board will, I guess, make the recommendations and to us, and then we will make the final decision. I think
Be through a local law.
yeah. Okay.
So there's multiple.
There's commercial,
Their
industrial,
lot.
residential, and industrial.
On their
On
lot.
there,
Yeah.
we'll pass around the paper, and it's got a
Yeah.
map with the lot on the back. It's another one of those situations where the zoning law came later, and a lot of things got sort of grandfathered in.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
And on that,
Yeah.
what we're gonna ask the company to do when any property owner seeks a zone change is, it's more than just the letter request, that there'll be something in the form of a petition seeking that zone change.
Okay.
And they'll need to fill out an environmental assessment form, because that's an action that needs to be reviewed under seeker as well.
Mhm.
So I'll ask them to do that, and then there's just a review process. So while
Okay.
they've alerted you that they're seeking that zone change, there's still some submissions we'll need from the company.
Okay. Great. Thank you. In a similar vein, JC Tractor has reached out. They are pursuing a grant, but they are running into problems with the way their area is zoned as well. And the planning board is also on this. I just have a very brief letter from JC Tractor to pass out. Just another one of those. Just be aware that this is what's going on. Moving on it. And the third and final announcement that I have is we received a call. Was it today? From Lynn Mango and Maria Rousseau. They've called for their annual permission to decorate the gazebo for the holidays. So I guess at this point, I'm looking for a motion to.
Second.
Bob and Ben. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, at this point, people to be heard. Just to get an idea of how many people want to speak. 1, 2, 3. Anyone else? Okay, then in that case, I'm just going to sort of set about a 5-minute limit on it for time purposes. Would you like to go first, sir?
Absolutely.
Remember to name and address.
My name is Matthew Wojtakis. I've lived here my whole life. I'm third generation. I've purchased a house next to mine. I live at 231 Church Street. I've been there for 12 years. I purchased 233 Church Street, which I'm turning into a garage, and plan on putting my house and that house together in the spring. My question is about the water, sewer, garbage bill. It's no longer going to be a residence, it's a garage. And there's still a water and sewer bill on that. I've paid all the back taxes, I paid all the water and sewer bills on it. Everything's paid in full, but I don't want any more bills on it because it's shut off. It's shut off at the curb. There's no more bathroom in it. It's already 75% gutted, and it's gonna be a garage.
All right, so if I have this right, you purchased 233.
Yep.
The water and sewer has been shut off
Yes.
at the curb.
From the corporation, at the corporation.
The curb, it shut off. It's been shut off for about 1.5 years at the curb for the water. There is no longer a bathroom in it, and there won't be. It's being turned into a garage. So the sewer is gonna be plugged off as well. The basement's gonna be filled in, and it's gonna be a garage.
So it's gonna have like a slab more or less.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've contacted Rensselaer County, worked with Mark and with Tony Rice
Okay.
on what's going on. I don't want any more bills for water and sewer on that property. I am turning it into all 231 Church Street. It will no longer be a 233.
Okay.
Did you cap off the water and sewer or just shut it off?
The water's been shut off at the curb for about a year and a half.
It's not capped, it's not,
Nope, it's just shut off.
so you'd still have bonds.
Well, that's why I'm here. I
Oh.
So you're saying once it's capped,
Once it's-
we
yeah,
can,
once it's shut right
yeah,
off
when
of
it's
the
just
property,
capped.
he's fine.
like totally disconnected from
I can
the.
fill a ray full of lead and it would never be used again. It's never gonna be used again anyway.
Let's not do lead.
I think we have different approaches for that. Okay, so we need to figure out how to cap it.
Yeah.
And then we need to look at,
Once it's capped, it's fine, there's no service to it, period.
I just didn't know how to go about it, so I came here.
no, that's fine.
cap
I'm-
it.
that's why we're here.
Aggressively tearing into it. I mean, then
Neil could tell you.
Neil, you're capping it.
You will have to get a contractor to dig it up at the main, the water service, and
Dig it up at the main itself.
and disconnect the water at the main.
Why can't it be capped? If the foundation's being filled in, it can no longer be tapped into.
You're
Why-
still gonna be responsible for that service line because it goes to that property. So if that line breaks, you're gonna be the one staying
But if it's not being used, I mean,
it don't matter.
it's dead ended.
That's the problem we've had with the mountain houses and with the old superintendents and stuff. They leave the line going to the property, then you have issues down the road. And the village usually gets stuck fixing somebody else's issue that should have been taken care of.
That has happened.
I'm already fixing a bunch of people's issues that
I know.
they've left it there.
I know.
You know, I'm trying to
But
work
it's
with the
just-
village on moving forward
That's just a
and
matter
making
of
it
digging
better.
a pile of hole down to the main, having the water guy come up, turn it off, take it off the main.
How big a hole? How deep are we talking?
I don't think it's that deep. And actually, I think it's tied in right there in that right away down between the houses.
Okay.
So the only thing Matt has to do is get someone to dig the hole, and then
Yeah.
Jim Holbrook will come up and shut the water off.
But it's gonna be another large expense for me to do that.
It should be more than a couple $100 for somebody to come in and dig just a little hole. So,
How deep is that, Neil? I mean, when you have to
Like
go.
3 feet, 5
4
feet.
foot, 5 tops right there.
I mean, you guys are gonna be really happy when it's all done. It's gonna be a nice big house, all redone when you come into town. It's gonna look nice.
I mean, I just say we appreciate,
It's looking good now for me.
Yeah, you've-
I'm coming at the bottom of the street looking
You're
better.
looking at trying to do it the right way, so.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm here.
Doing this at the main for the water is the way to do it, right? You know, most of the old houses that are torn down, yeah, we do let you cap the sewer inside the basement. But,
So Jim can tell him where the hole should be done?
Yep, Jim should be able to trace that line right back to the main end.
So that it would have to be kept as the main for the water and the sewer, or
No, the sewer can be capped inside the basement wall.
the sewer can be kept inside the basement wall.
Yeah.
Until we get done.
So it's just digging down to where
Can we do
the
that?
corporation with the water.
And did you say the water would be on that road? Going
The water
down?
actually comes in
Talk
right
now,
from the
talk.
front.
The bonds still being.
They actually just put a new shut-off valve in the front of the yard.
I'll have him call.
McAuliffe did this past
Can we?
fall. I
freeze
called a
this
few
bill
times
now,
because
or
water
it
was
has to be
spraying out
capped, right?
from the
We
building.
have to have a cap
Yeah,
so
we,
can freeze it.
you know, we can discuss this more. But, you know, I don't think it's gonna be a big expense.
Okay.
Disconnect that wall.
Yeah, I'm trying to work with the village on
Okay.
doing what we gotta do, that's all.
Call the office in the morning, or call Jim at the water treatment plant, and let's get the ball rolling so we
Sounds
can
like
at
the
least
sewer
know
you
where it's
could
going to
end
be.
instantly.
What's that?
The sewer you could end instantly,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Right.
Okay.
So if you need any
Okay.
contacts, contact the office here, or
Sounds like Jim needs
Sure.
to tell you where to dig.
Yeah.
what's that?
Does Jim need to tell him?
Yeah, it sounds like someone needs to come over and at least tell you exactly where the location is. And they'll probably actually have a good idea on how deep it is too.
As long as they don't shut your water off here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a completely different other end.
Yeah.
That actually is in the road that goes down back, the water there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so yours is the other one.
All right, thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
Matt.
And thank you for purchasing that property and.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice, man. I'm gonna
Yeah.
attach the house and build a giant thing. You guys are gonna tax the hell out of me. It's gonna be
There you go.
Well, it's a nice welcome to the village.
Take
All
care,
right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Matt.
Night.
There were two other people who wanted to speak.
Thank you.
One would you like to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Marion Stevens, Weiler Avenue. Basically looking for update on what was decided about going up the hill and parking on Weiler Avenue going up the hill. Was there any decision made on that? Because winter is coming.
I actually
And the
do
last
see
meeting-
issue with this.
So.
They're on the right side, when they park on the right side, there's like nowhere to go.
The
I
big
have
truck,
to
the white truck, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's even if you have regular cars there, Brian. The thing is, on that side of the road, they all have their driveways. That happened a long time ago when C.J. Kalinowski, had apartments there, and he was renting apartments. I believe now they are dwellings, single dwellings there, and people could be using driveways.
I mean,
instead.
even if that side was unavailable.
And I mean-
I can speak to it, I drive it every day, and, you know, you get one car coming this way, you can't even see them sometimes.
And it's at a dangerous point, that's why I
It
brought it
really
up at
is.
the last meeting, to bring it up that, you know, every other street, it's park on this side, up the hill, it's park on this side.
What was that originally, park going down the hill? Wheels?
It's a section.
You're talking about the crest of the hill,
Yeah,
right?
crest
Just
of
that
the
one
hill.
section's really.
There's supposed to be
a problem.
parking on the north side of the street. The south side's supposed to be no parking.
It was
But
like
they've
they
done
allowed
just
for
the
two parking
reverse.
spaces.
Yeah.
The Hyde, his last name's Hyde, owns the white, it's apartments there, it's the brick house, it's former Mayor Borge house, the white apartments, there's 3, and then a brick house, it's all.
Yeah.
right
I
through
forgot to look on this. Give me a week and then start calling me and yelling at me, please, and I'll start having conversations. I mean, if you want, you can email yell at. That's
So, Mary,
easier.
you're talking about before you hit Abbott Street. Are you
Yes.
talking?
Yeah, it's the crest
It's
of the
the
very
crest,
top.
it's a crest,
Oh.
and it's terrible, it's a blind spot, you come up that crest, you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even see cars, you come down.
Yeah, because that right after.
I agree 100%.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Give me a week and then start bugging me, please.
Okay, next thing, I guess, only because I haven't seen much of it in the meetings in the past, I'm wondering what's going on, is there any type of settlement or anything happening yet with Cobain on our water issues and things like that? And I know we have a lawyer for it now. and
Such a
very
simple
good one.
answer.
Yeah.
We're still
But,
working
you know,
on
I'm
it.
watching Bennington and how they're developing nicely, and, you know, getting piping done and everything else, and we're still sitting here.
We are aware. We are working on it. Putting
Okay.
more work in than I'd like
Well,
to.
Marion,
admit.
just so you know, their fix is a little bit different than ours. We're
I
looking for an
know.
alternative
No, I
water
know.
source. They're tying into the Bennington water, so
Yeah.
And
there's a big
I know
difference.
that, I'm understanding that,
Yep.
but I'm just, like I said, we have debts that have been building up, and, you know, I think we still need to be concerned about those.
That's
things.
because
Vermont
Thank
is
you.
proactive and New York is, well, but we don't want to do anything.
It's a surprisingly complicated situation. As I've gotten more into it, I realize how complicated it is. But we are working on it. Thank you, Marion. And Pam.
Pam Bukowski. I have 3 quick questions. Number 1, when the Greenway, I'm not against the Greenway or anything, we put that out there first, but when the Greenway was first brought forth and all that, we were told that it was not gonna cost the village any money at all, that there were grants and there would never be a cost to the village at all. Can you tell me what the Greenways cost the village? I
Doesn't
noticed
cost
at the last
village
board
anything.
meeting-
Nothing yet.
Nothing.
Well, at the last board meeting, there were like grants that said you had to match them.
So the way the match works is a lot of
Good
times
question.
it's in volunteers. So some people might have volunteer hours they can use. There's other projects the village may do, such as if we have to demolish a property that's adjacent to the Greenway, the money we spend on that can be used toward a match. So when it comes to grants, it's not cash match directly. Some of those are donations. There's a wide spectrum of what a definition of a match is. I mean, excellent question. The village does not. We administer the grants as a village. We own the property, but that initially went through Hoorah, the Hoosick River Watershed Association. But at this point, Neil is really great about helping out on his time, which we appreciate. The schools help out. There's a lot of volunteers. There's people go out, trees down, they take care of it.
So like when at the last board meeting, there were a couple grants,
Mhm.
and you said they had to be matched, and you approved to match $5,000 and what that did not come out of the village money?
No, these grants allow us. I know that the big one does in particular allows us to substitute in work hours.
Yep. Okay.
For the actual match side of
Okay.
it. Other grants, you're right. Other grants, there's a village expense to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we've been always very diligent
So
about.
since this has been in the progress, whatever, it has not cost the village any money at all?
Not anything directly that I'm aware of. It's always been a volunteer thing or a. I think the only thing where there would be a cost possibly would be when the police have to respond to something, which is not frequent. It's not, But otherwise, I.
Oh, I could always follow up with Rick too, because he was involved with it for so long.
We've not. That's been something they were really good about keeping.
Yeah.
Right. So the last
Who's,
meeting, the last meeting in the minutes, it says the 2007 Greenway grant available through was a $200,000 grant with 50-50 match. The village is 175 less K left to spend.
Yeah.
And the other Greenway grant was the Hudson River Valley Greenway Trails was 10K with a $5,000 village match.
So I was thinking the village paid that $5,000.
No.
Okay, that's what I
It
wanted
could
to
be
know.
services, it's not cash or money.
It's too bad Shelley
Am
left. She
I,
knows all of this.
I know.
She left.
Yeah, you should have asked that when Shelley was here. She could have answered everything about the Greenway.
That's okay. I just want to
No,
clarify.
great.
No, it's a good question.
Thank you, Pam.
My second thing is if I could have answers by the show of hands of the board members, and I'd like to know how many board members have been back down on Hall Street and looked at the properties down there since July.
I moved down the road, Pam, but not behind your house.
And then,
When are they gonna fix that pile that's behind the houses?
Continuing to work with the state.
I'm not in my home yet.
I know.
I'm not in it. I don't wanna speak because I get very angry and get very upset.
Understood. I'm
And
continuing
my
to have
house
conversations
is
with.
darn cold right now because there's no heat, no electricity, no nothing.
Yeah. I've been sending some
None of those
information.
things being done. Nothing. I go out there and I look at my house and I better not say anymore. My blood pressure's high enough.
so, and then my other question would be is, have we made any progress?
Nothing tangible. I've had some more conversations. I've sent some information
Okay.
back and forth. They've had a couple meetings at the state level trying to figure some things out. I was trying to actually get in touch with someone today. We went back and forth and couldn't find times to meet together, but I'm
Because
still.
now with winter coming,
Yep.
you've gotta
Yep.
look
Yep.
at that avenue.
Has there been any inquiry to the additional 55 million that they allotted to the western part of the state for us to be included in that money at all? 'Cause
Nope.
was that 25 million originally for?
That was for the Lake
flooding?
not Lake
And then
Ontario, Lake
he-
Ontario
upped it
flooding.
55 million at the end of August. Did we contact them to see if we could be included in that? And can there be a process to?
Sorry, what's
for
your name
the
again?
people of Hall Street to at least get ahead of
Mr. Hickey.
people? For at least to have them to have paperwork ready when those funds become available to be used down there.
Yeah, there was somewhere I read where supposedly there was some money that was gonna be coming this way to do something.
So none of the Hall Street residents have received anything monetarily from FEMA whatsoever, correct?
I can't answer that question.
No one has. I mean, and if we're still waiting to
You
get.
can't answer that question? What's that mean?
I cannot answer that question regarding the neighbors.
Yourself, I'm talking about you,
No, I am
and I'm
not.
talking about Winnie.
I haven't heard,
Okay.
we're fighting with
The,
FEMA.
the residents are here.
Oh, the residents.
That they have denied one of the claims. Because he said we didn't get the mold out of the house quick enough. How in the blazes could you get mold out of the house quick enough when the house was, the
Mhm.
cellar was flooded with water, 6 feet of water, well, maybe more than that. And then afterwards, there was 6 inches of mud on the floor.
And there was no access.
And there's no, they couldn't get in there. And then you had to, just to clean the cellar and the garage was over $17,000.
that's gonna be the problem with the gap in time
Yep.
when it flooded,
Oh, right.
is
And-
that
Yep.
And
the
now,
FEMA restrictions are different from when the original flooding happened to the damage that happens after the fact. So
Mhm.
the mold and the mold remediation should have been dealt with in the beginning, and they should have stepped up sooner. Instead, now you have much more damage that's gonna be more costly to fix in the long run.
I got
So-
It's likely to get worse with winter
What
coming.
it's gonna cost to rip up my floors. And they have to take the kitchen out, so they can rip up the floors.
Mhm.
Because of the mold, well, they said the mold is gone under the subflooring. And with the condition I've got with the nylons, my doctors, you know, because it move, you can't go in that house.
Did you get your heat hooked back up?
No, nothing
no
there,
heat.
it's cold.
I get about 5
The
minutes.
water's shut off, electricity's off, all this one little thing.
What did they give you for an estimate when they did fix that?
They said my estimate was around $75,000 to fix the house.
And
Tammy, when you
That's
said
why
you
I'm
read
not
some more about money headed this
touching
way, are you for? I know we are getting money for the sewer part of the sewer project. I don't know if that's what you're referencing, but that.
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on that.
No, there was, the governor, like when he allocated
Yeah,
that money for Ontario, there was something I read someplace down the road where somebody approached him or whatever, and he was
Mhm.
considering allocating money this way, which,
If you find that, email that to me. And if you're willing to share that response from FEMA, I'd like to see that too. If you can give it
And
to
that
Pam and get the copies
FEMA
dropped off.
had the nerve to ask where I was born. What is that? They don't know where I was born. Then I had to have, what is it? When you have to sign papers
Mhm.
and someone's got to be there. to
Notary?
sign.
Notarized.
Notary public. Had to come up to Bennington because they wanted my date of birth and I had to sign it from him and stamp it. Now
We can
that's
notarize.
crazy.
yeah. I know
I know
that,
I'm
Oh,
I wasn't born in this country, but I am an American citizen since 1949.
Alright.
and I know that.
And then we gotta move on, so just,
Yep, I know that two of the homes have been completely gutted, and they have been, you know, working on being refinished and stuff. And I don't know if that was insurance or FEMA, I don't have no idea.
alright.
And they could do a lot of it themselves. I have no one to do it. I have to pay for everything.
Did anything come out of the conversation with the DEC commissioner about taking some properties that were beyond repair?
That's in a sense, that's one of the things we're trying to look into is finding a way to do that. And we've had conversations with Keith Gertz is what, Region 4 DEC head? As well. I'm trying to remember all the people who were here. We had representatives from B&L here since they were so familiar with the project. And that was one of the things I was trying to get in touch with someone today about to see what's happened. I know they've had internal meetings since. They requested some information. I got it back to them, and we're still waiting here. Really hoping I could say I talked to them today before the meeting, but we never were able to touch base.
I'm gonna look at my house.
Yeah.
You go in my house, it looks okay. Well, the night.
Yeah.
Did Olivia get in touch with you, Miss Olivia?
Miss Olivia? No, not recently.
She'll be coming.
Great. All right.
She got a hold of me
Heads up,
because
she
her
will be
driveway,
coming.
she can't get into her garage to put her car away in wintertime, so she wants to know
Oh.
what's gonna happen on that deal, so.
Okay, that's my list.
And I just wanna make you
You don't
aware
wanna
of it.
deal with
We knew
her.
that was gonna happen when we made the temporary fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't around
But she
during the
was-
time.
She was in England.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, just
It's
unfortunate.
Olivia.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Last chance to speak on the public hearing. Okay, we'll leave it up open for a couple more minutes, then I think we'll be at our hour. We don't have a treasurer's report tonight. Denise has been doing a whole slew of things, and one of the things she's been working on is getting the sort of the kinks works out of the new system that she's on right now. You don't have any notes from her, right?
Other than she said that the transition is a little bit more difficult than what she thought it was going to be with them.
Yep.
So, but they're still working on it.
And to get things right, she's got to step back and sort of tweak some things from the past. So, but yes, she is definitely working. All right, you guys have the October minutes with the attachments. Any discussion, or if not, looking for motion to approve the minutes.
I make the motion we accept them as presented.
Bobby, second by Brian. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain. I wasn't here.
Abstention?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Karen. All right. I have I've been trying to figure out a format and a way to just give sort of monthly updates on some of the large things that are going on. So in the grant project remediation update, I have a few things to pass on. We've already spoken in terms of the sewer project and the eminent domain proceedings, so we don't need to go over that. The SAM grant for the highway garage, we actually have this on the agenda on the top of page 3, but we received 3 RFQs, requests for qualifications, from MRB, LaBerge, and Barton and LaJudas, B&L.
And MRB,
And MRB. Do you guys want to talk now about this, or wait until later in the agenda? Do it now? Sure. Is that right? Okay, thank you. A bunch of us have been through it. I think the overwhelming majority from who I spoke with was the MRB one. Just seemed to be the right one, the right fit. Does anyone want to add their comments or speak to that?
Mayor, I like to be excused from this vote if you don't mind.
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Anyone else want to throw comments out or ask questions?
Wonder if in the future that when we get these proposals that we can have the companies come and give us presentations on them so we can all take part in the, I mean, it's been a busy time for me this time of year, and I didn't get a chance to get to look at them, so.
One of the things we could also do, and now that you mention it, is we can request a digital copy of these so that we can actually email them out to you guys so you can access.
If we could have them
this.
digitally, it'd probably
that would have made a lot of sense.
Better than a presentation.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, apologies on that. Yeah, let's when we do those in the future, and when we do it for the Snow Street bid, we'll mention the digital copies need to be part of it, so we can distribute those amongst the board. Thank you.
Can we make that a requirement when we put out these? Does that be part of the requirements
bid
for
proposal?
Yes, we can.
Sure.
Nods
Yes.
village attorney.
Because
yes.
because if we get 2 that are digital, one that's not, none of us look at the one that's not, that could lead to. So we can make it a requirement.
That a requirement of the bids.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Do that going forward.
I know I looked through it. Brian looked through it.
I did.
Bobby looked through it. I did ask Neil for his thoughts, since obviously this will be a big deal for him and his garage, and he was also interested in MRB. So, any other discussion? Okay. In that case, I guess I'm looking for a motion to accept MRB's RFQ for the highway garage projects. Ben?
Second.
Second. Bobby, any further discussion? I will do the abstention. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions? Yes. Okay. That didn't need to be a roll call, did it? That didn't need to be a roll call. Okay. All right.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
At the end of the street, down from my property, you own property there, right? The
Yes.
village owns it.
Yes.
Why don't you do something down there?
Well, the line has
Build
to.
whatever you want to build.
The line has to go all the way up through and around the river.
I'm
and,
sure you can come up with some engineers that can put it right on your property.
well, we could at the expense of the taxpayer having to add another $500,000 or $1 million to the project.
So you'd rather take my property, screw Jack, right?
Yeah, but nobody's taking your property. They're just gonna bury a sewer line underneath the ground.
Sir, keep your hands and your project off my property.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm saying that as nice as I can.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Catania. Moving on real fast, the Restore New York grant. We talked about this last time, and I've actually gotten to meet with Civicure and spoke with LaBerge a couple times as well. We went back and forth on what we were doing and the idea of the grant and getting to understand the details, get our minds wrapped around it. At the end of the day, Civicure as a board met and they voted to not pursue it this year with the idea of pursuing it next year. I just want to read the letter to that. She said, "Dear Mayor Allen, thank you for your time and effort you've given towards Civicure's application for the Restore New York grant. We're extremely appreciative of the village's proposed support and the town of Hoosick's support in helping to pay the fees associated with LaBerge's application for Restore New York grant 2017. That was the $10,000 was the cost of the application. It's like $1 million or $1.1 million project to complete. We hope you will consider funding this next year. We are pleased that you have identified our project of restoring the woodblock building as an arts and cultural center as a worthy use of the Restore New York grant. Thank you for presenting this letter to the board. We wish we could do it personally, but all of our board members have previous commitments. We hope to attend one of your meetings and present our plans for your consideration in 2018. After much discussion with our board at this morning's meeting, a vote was taken. The board voted to hold off on applying for the Restore New York grant for 2017 and set the goal of applying for 2018. Civic Care simply does not have the resources to move forward with a project of this scale on such short notice. We hope LaBerge will work with us next year. This will allow us to do much needed planning to understand the needs in order to determine project costs for renovations of the second and third floors and part of the first floor. As we mentioned, one of the strongest assets of our community is the people, and Civicure needs to engage that resource, their skills and generosity, so the community feels they are an integral part of restoring the wood block building. It is an effort that will call on a combination of resources, including Restore New York grants and professionals within the community who are willing to volunteer their time and skills to rebuild our fabulous building. And I'll pass this around. There's also a letter that Civicure got from the governor back at the end of October when they did the ribbon cutting ceremony. I'll start over there. The basic gist was when they had their initial assessment of what needed to be done, it came up to multiple millions of dollars. This project would be, about $1 million to 1.1 million, but it does require them to have some money on hand so that as a phase of the job is done, they have to pay for that, and when the job's done, they can get that reimbursed and then use that to go. And there's a lot of stuff that has to go into the project, which is why, because they just recently purchased the property, and they own it mortgage free. There's a lot of work and a lot of stuff that has to go into it. So that's sort of where we're at with that. But it was really nice to get more of a tour of the building and find out what their plans were and look over some of the work that they've done so far. Any questions on that?
I'm impressed that they just their leadership and that slow and steady wins the race attitude.
That's exactly what they've been doing.
Way and do it well.
Yeah. All right. In that case, moving on, I have a remediation update on the Liberty Street site. We received this, and this goes in our repository, which we have here, and also at the Cheney Library. They're doing a drum removal and exploration test pitting plan as prepared in their May 19th supplemental scope of work for the St. Gobain Performance Plastic site located at 1 Liberty Street. This is here. There's a map in the back that just basically shows the short story is they're just doing more work. But I will pass it around to you guys, and once it makes its way over there, I'm sure the attorneys would love to take a peek at that. But that is also available at the village office, as is all the other documents in our repository. What's that?
I said I believe we've seen it.
You probably have seen it, yeah. I think it was emailed to us before we got it.
It's buried drums are sitting in the warehouse.
Do you guys?
There was one found near the surface in the back. They're going to remove that, and they're going to look see if there's any others out there.
Thank you, Jim. What he said.
Oh, so you said there was actually drums in the ground?
It was like it wasn't necessarily a drum. It was like I don't know if it was like a 30-gallon pail or something like that. But they're going to take that out and look to see if there's anything else out there.
All right. Thank you. And the last item is the alternate water supply study. I've had multiple conversations with DEC in the past month about this. And the basic gist in the process is the companies returned in a timely manner sort of their draft, I guess, if you will. DEC looked over it. DEC met with the companies as either has sent or is about to send formal comments back. Those comments will go back to the companies. They will continue to work on the report. I think the window of time they have once they get the comments is around 30 to 45 days or something like that.
Probably more like 45 days. Yeah.
Probably more like 45 days. But basically the gist is it's still in the works, and we're not likely to see anything before the new year. So I just wanted to make sure that people understand that the alternate water report is still moving forward, but we're not going to see it in 2017. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. All right. I would like to step back to page 1, and I'm looking for. I need a motion to close the hearing, right? Looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Ben?
Second.
Second, Karen. Thank you. Any further discussion on this? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. All right. In that case, now we're going to proceed on to the 2 resolutions on page 1 to be heard. Annie, do I get to read all these?
If you would like, I can give you a summary
I would love that, because you have those, right? So this is the first resolution, 11-14-17, determination and findings pursuant to eminent domain procedure law, section 204. Do you want to summarize?
Certainly. So, under the eminent domain procedure law, following the public hearing and consideration of the public comments, the board is required to make certain findings that the proposed project is a public project and is in the public interest. So this resolution goes through the procedure for this matter, including that the public hearing was duly noticed and held and closed, that the proposed public project is acquisition of the permanent utility easement on and over Mr. Catania's property, and that this does constitute a public project as part of the public works project for the sewer upgrade. It identifies the easement, it describes the proposed easement, gives the property location, and determines that it will not result in any significant effect on the environment or the residents of the village. This is a requirement under the eminent domain procedure law, and it's the determination by this board that this does constitute a public project and appropriate for acquisition under the eminent domain procedure law. So that's the first resolution that's in front of you.
Okay. Do I need to read any portion of it out loud? We've reviewed it. It's here if you would like to see it. It's many pages long. I guess at this point then I am looking for a motion.
We'll have someone offer the resolution and second it, and then we'll ask for a roll call vote.
And is this just taking into consideration what Shelley had mentioned earlier? Is this something that can be adjusted to also have that greenway as part of the easement?
Again, the only thing that the village is
because that's a right. Okay.
The only thing that the village is proceeding on now is the acquisition of the utility easement itself. If the village seeks to acquire the property, it can do so through negotiation and agreement with Mr. Catania. It can also do eminent domain, but that would be a separate project, subject to separate findings. This in front of you is limited to just obtaining the utility easement for the sewer project.
Which, if I'm correct, is less than 20 feet wide and a certain, I don't know what the length is in the property. What's that? 210 feet long. So we're talking about about 20 foot wide, 210 feet long. Dig it, bury it, reestablish it, make it as nice as it was or better.
It will look better than it does now.
Thank you.
The resolution does indicate a little lee room, that a 20-foot wide easement, 225 foot long, over the parcel. It's about 0.11 acre in total size.
Okay. So I guess I'm looking.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. In that case, is there any further discussion? This is subject to a roll call vote.
Bob? Karen?
Yes.
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. And the second resolution, 11-14-17A, authorization to present written offer to acquire an interest with real property in compliance with eminent domain procedure law, section 303.
And this resolution is also a requirement under the eminent domain procedure law. What the law seeks to do is still acquire the property interest through written offer and agreement. So what the law requires is, even though the board has found this to be a public project and appropriate under the eminent domain procedure law, a formal written offer to acquire the property interest has to be made. This resolution again goes through the fact that findings have been made. It identifies that an appraisal report was prepared. It did value the acquisition of the easement. In the resolution, it authorizes a formal written offer for the full appraised value for the utility easement. The appraisal report estimated that at $1,500. The law does require that a written offer be made for the full appraised price of the interest in the real property. And so what this resolution does is authorize that written offer to Mr. Catania to purchase the utility easement for the $1,500 appraised value. If that's accepted, the matter is resolved. If not, there may be further proceedings. So again, this is a requirement under the law to make that formal written purchase offer.
Looking for.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right. And further discussion, and just so I understand the process right, if Mr. Catania, the owner, accepts the, what was it, $1,500 as the cost of the easement, then
That's correct.
it's done.
That's correct.
And if not, and we continue through proceedings, at the end of it, we're still going to be paying.
At that point, there will be a procedure to determine the value. That's a court proceeding.
Okay.
Certainly, the village's proof will show that the appraised value is $1,500, but ultimately the court will set the value. They will look to the proof that's offered, and certainly the proof that would be offered by the village is the appraisal report.
And then they would determine the value based on all
value,
that,
and then it
and we would
slips.
be paying that value.
That's correct.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you. I don't.
Am I allowed to say anything?
What's that?
Motion.
I think at this point, no, but you have my contact information. 'Cause we have a
I can't hear
motion.
you, sorry.
I'm sorry. At this point, no, but you have my contact information, as well as.
It's not that this attorney is making a case for $1,500 purchase of my property. Do you think I'm going to?
That's not what's happening.
No, but that's what he's talking about.
But it's not a purchase of the property. It's paying to go in there, dig, install, and reset it the way it was.
It's not acceptable, I can tell you right now, you're wasting your time.
All right. Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion?
Is there a time frame on this that we're working in, Andy?
The goal, I think, for the sewer project to move through is to be able to have bids out in soon. And the time frame on this,
We'll make the formal written offer. The law does allow that offer to be open for 90 days.
Okay.
For the property owner to consider
Okay.
to continue.
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay, roll call vote.
Bob?
Yes.
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Ben? Kevin?
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item of business on the top of page 2, police report. Mr. Bob Ash.
From October 7th to November 11th, for this month, there was a total of 97 calls. 16 of them were arrests. They range from DWI to some sexual abuse cases. I wanted just to point out that the Toys for Tots program has started. The box should be here hopefully soon. But we are still gathering the toys now. We're gathering them in the office. As soon as the box is out, we put it out. Jerry in community service is doing a great job. We're moving right along with our project. Things are going well with that.
For those of you guys who haven't seen it yet, the community service has been doing some work in the police office above the staircase, setting up a closet area, and it's
been required by state corrections. They come in and did an evaluation, and they needed us to move some items. And also we needed a room for our computer system, so.
Yep.
And this is at no cost. The community service is doing it.
Yep.
And material is being covered by our money that we've located. As to the phone calls, it's the holiday season. Please be careful with phone calls coming in. There sometimes people call about the police department accepting donations. We are not accepting any, or we're not soliciting for any type of
Well, I'll
donations.
tell you, I keep getting phone calls left and right.
Just keep on hanging
I
up
keep
on
telling
them.
them to call me.
And I just want to point this out quick. There's a young man, and Brian, if I'm going to give you this material after, if you can put it out on Facebook. A young man by the name of Luke Hogue. He's fifth
Luke
grade.
Hogue, yeah.
Hogue, yeah.
Yep.
You already got all that? And you got
Doing the letters to Santa, yeah.
And you got the letters and stuff.
Yeah.
We've got them here as well.
Okay.
That's great.
I'll mention that you have them.
That's great.
Awesome.
I think it's a good program here, and
Bet.
he's done
Yeah.
a heck of a job there. So
Yep.
we're going to put it on our Facebook as well. So
Great.
all right. Thank you. Any other questions?
Bob, can you tell me where the end of the village is, where the police can do radar from, please?
We're up here by the cemetery.
Yep.
And then
Where?
we're all the way up on High Street.
What about the church parking lot past the cemetery? Are they allowed to
The Alliance
do radar
Church?
there? Yep.
Yes, we're allowed.
Okay.
I know there's some complaints. I deal with the people that come in the courtroom at court night.
I'm not even sure if they happen to be doing it at that point, but
Right.
they were sitting in the parking lot, and usually they're in that little crevice there, right where the cemetery starts.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like when you cross into Vermont, though. Sometimes you'll see a state trooper on the Vermont side getting people crossing into New York, and then they'll go after them that
Which
way.
one would come to Cumming Street?
So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
You can forget Cumming Street, we don't exist.
No, we're up there
Those
late
two
at
that
night,
flew
see,
up
you
this
guys
morning?
already know.
Did you hear the two that flew up this morning?
Hey, we're having a meeting right now.
Radar.
See, even the chief doesn't want to go up near your house, Ann.
Any other questions, discussion? Sorry. All right, looking for a motion to accept the
Motion.
Thank you. Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Seconded that,
Carries.
Mayor.
Ben or
No.
well, no. We'll give Downing the motion and Bobby the second.
What?
She's so mad she can't see
Downing
stuff.
had the motion before Ben did.
Okay.
Ben said motion, but technically Bobby seconded it. So Bobby should. This
Well, I've
is
got
essential
Ben.
stuff. I'm right? I got this. All right. Code enforcement report.
Unlike the police, I have noticed Cumming Street, and just today, I noticed a pile of garbage and debris in a property that
Shut up.
probably.
Pick up your debris.
Shut up.
These are recorded proceedings. I like to remind you.
Cleaning out.
What are you talking about?
What was that address?
Basically,
You know that's how it would play out. You wouldn't come tonight.
October. I don't know if there's any questions or anything.
Pick on Ann.
We were able to dismiss,
I don't
I
think I
think,
do.
or get through a few court cases. I think we're up to 15. But I am excited for the opportunity to actually put to Gilchrist to work with some of these.
Yeah.
But we're waiting on the district attorney's office right now, or no, not district attorney's office and
Basically, yeah.
county
attorney, correct.
County
Yeah.
attorney. Lucky you.
So we're kind of in a hold pattern right now until we have had to postpone, and I did note it on here. But as soon as we get that, we will get at it and.
All right.
We did have a chance to review with everybody involved, the police department, the judges, the processes with Andy, the processes that we want to have in place as we move forward. So once we get this permission, it'll be good.
Great.
How long do we anticipate that taking? Do we know, Andy? Or?
We've been told that county attorney will review it over the next few weeks.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me check it. Mark, the corner of Church and the corner of Church and Carey.
Yes.
That sold at auction.
I believe it sold at auction. I have not seen who bought it yet.
I tried to find out too.
Actually, I went down to Real Property down the county today, and they're gonna email me a list of those properties and the owners tomorrow, so.
Oh, that would be great. If you could get
I'll
that
pass
to
them on to you.
Good.
The other thing is, with that same property and a few others, we passed our law for plywood over windows, and there's a couple around town that still have plywood and they're not being attended to. Can we enforce our law on some of those properties?
Sure. I'd like to take a step further though, start using these properties a little more active. Instead of just sitting there with plywood.
Well, that's
Trying to force the issue.
that's the
But we will
point.
get, we're taking care of, a lot of them are immediate things right now. We will get this one.
It's just frustrating, that, especially the property at the corner of Carey and Church, where it's continually been sold over and over again, and I addressed that with the county, and they said, well, there's nothing they can do about it. I said that the village may be interested, but at that point, I think it was too late in the process for us to get involved in that one.
Right, but once I have the new owner, then I certainly can start to communicate with him.
So to speak.
He talked to me about it. I don't think he did get it.
I got a question about
Yeah.
parking on Cary Avenue. Did anybody mention that to?
I started to speak with Neil about it and got sidetracked with other stuff, so I'm gonna add you to the list of with Mary and of yell at me in a week if they haven't heard from you, please. Thank you for bringing that up. Add that to my notes. Any other questions for that? In that case, looking for a motion to approve the report.
Motion.
Second.
Bobby, Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
What's that one?
Clerk's report.
That's a stick. Okay. We finally got a hold of Niagara Mohawk. I did through, actually it was a local fellow that came to the office, thank goodness. I gave him a list of probably 4 months worth of lights that I reported out.
Can I give you one?
I don't know, no. I don't, he doesn't know where they're sent, and I don't know either, but he came back in with this report, that he had fixed all the ones, no, this was,
There was,
put my glasses on, I can tell you.
I see the one right at the mayor's house got fixed.
Just saying.
Oh, you can't even get a radar.
That's like saying.
You can't even get a radar in the mayor.
Well, I'm pretty sure that someone in the mayor's household who was in the mayor did report it the way you're supposed to.
Yesterday I had a report, I sent it in to the place that tells me to fax it to. Then I saw the fax number on the top of the sheet he sent, and I sent it down there, so maybe I'm gonna hear from somebody on the street light, because they're awful to get a hold of. Anyway.
This doesn't seem like that's all of them.
Oh, there's a lot out.
Oh, I have a lot.
I think the list of what's working is shorter than the list of what's out there. I'm serious at this
I'm
point.
gonna have to give them a call, because that's just not acceptable.
So far this month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 one-family homes have been sold.
5 one-family homes?
5.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm gonna 5 one-family homes?
Then did the 2018 calendar for Urswama. Have done the labels and got those out today to Matt Curley. We're working on the water levy, town outside, and property tax for levy.
Any questions? Looking for motion to accept the clerk's report?
Motion.
Second.
Ben, Brian. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
We
Passes.
have radar on the street.
We don't have an official community service report, but I did get to speak with Jerry and McCullough. As we already mentioned earlier, they've done some work with the police department. They've also done some work at the Jackson Street Park, and we went back over and talked through a bunch of things. Some things work, some things need further addressing, and I've also been in touch with the insurance folks, and they're good with that. So we're going to continue working on stuff there and getting that.
Masonry work here in the building?
Yes, that's right. They did the masonry work. Yes. So they have been doing a lot of stuff, and I'm actually, I mean to get him to start submitting some written stuff so we can just pass it on to people here. So nothing to approve there.
We need a tree pruner.
What's that?
Tree pruner.
We need. If you know any tree pruners, please ask them to get arrested in our village. All right. Put that out on Facebook. Don't, please don't.
What?
Please don't. No, you didn't hear anything.
Should we untweet that?
All right. Committee reports.
I have
Nothing. Okay.
I have nothing, but I want to thank Renee, that trunk and the tree.
Oh, the trunk and treat.
That was fantastic.
That was.
The
They.
turnout for that was unbelievable.
Yes.
Fantastic job. Everybody who participated, unbelievable.
They did it awesome, and people are already talking about getting their vehicles there next time. So we started talking about a bigger route. There's a fire truck there, and they gave one candy to one person at a time, and they estimated over 500 kids, which was amazing. So that was a huge event.
Yeah, she did a great job, and this is great for participating.
All right. Anything else, Karen?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, just quickly with Kevin as well too. Some people were inquiring about where we are with Hoosick Rising. I know after Briggs had stepped down, we kind of put that on hold for a while. Kevin, were you ended up looped in on the email thread eventually? Yes, we did. There was a whole chain. At this point too, I know it started off as a village initiative involving the community. We've evolved to a different point. I think it still can serve a project-based purpose, but we should probably find a solution for community members just to take it so it's not a village or town entity, and let them perhaps rebrand it and restart it. So I wanted to just kind of give an update. Maybe you had brought up doing some projects in December with decorating downtown.
Yeah,
I know we're a little tight in schedule, but
yeah, one was we had last year. We put out the snowmen, and actually looking into getting more made as part of the Christmas decoration project, because people seemed to like them last year, and some other holiday decorations.
Yeah,
I was talking to Neil about lighting up some of John Street too, and that would take getting outlets, put on a couple of poles, but just the few things we was looking into.
Do we want to try to come up with a meeting for that group to kind of reconvene, or do we want to wait till January for that and do the decorating as kind of a separate thing?
Yeah, it's probably should be January, because people are gonna get so
Holiday
busy with
season.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I have actually gotten one or two people reaching out asking if the economic development position will be back on. So I know there's still interest in people who want to fill that. We as a board have to decide if we want to do that sooner or if we want to wait until the next year. I know we're working on the website right now. So that's just something else to consider, and we can talk about that further now or later. Anything else, Brian?
When Briggs left, I thought we decided we would back
Till
that up a few
January.
months.
That's what we were. That's kind of was our gist. So I guess.
Like Kevin's right, we've got too much.
I agree, and I
coming in and-
kind of just don't mind. And we have a lot going on.
And even
with
last
village
year, when we
business, too.
started looking, those interviews were what, December, January? We were really interviewing through December, January.
Yeah.
So.
And
yeah.
budget season is approaching anyway,
Yep.
so
Right.
there's
Right.
a lot
I say back it
of
up.
financial questions and yeah.
And
All right.
then I had one other thing, but I don't know if this wouldn't be a committee report necessarily, would it? And
Well,
or should I just?
you brought
bring
it
them?
up,
Yeah.
so go ahead.
It was kind of, well, actually, a few months ago, Bob Downing brought it up when the youth center representatives, where we were meeting at the senior center, and had said there's village money that goes to what was the combined youth center and HC3, but now they're two separate organizations again. And you had brought up looking into being fair and splitting that, and found an agreement from, was this 2010? And it basically is giving $3,000 contribution that's yearly budgeted, I believe, and then $2,000 in kind service, a village service labor, for a total of $5,000. So $3,000 cash, $2,000 in kind services. I know the youth center, they did a remarkable job fundraising, a substantial amount of money, and they have basketball again there. It's been fantastic, and
School project was amazing.
yeah, they really have done a big thing there. They obviously still need a lot of help because that's a big undertaking. So I wanted to bring up this agreement to see if we could possibly look at splitting this 50-50 between both organizations. Because it was written when they were together, and it is here, Hoosick Area, Happy, which is HC3, and then Hoosick Area Youth Center, Community Coalition, etc. And Bob, you had mentioned it a few months ago, and
Can I see that, Brian?
I'd like to follow through with that.
Thanks.
Yeah, and come up with an agreement that helps both organizations equally.
So it looks based on this, we would have to terminate this agreement and have a separate agreement ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's this, how long is the length of that?
It's,
end.
It's until terminated by mutual.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Until terminated by mutual agreement.
Well, we don't have to do that.
Okay.
We don't write them a check and make it for you, so.
All right.
No, I don't get a check then.
They'll kick us out. We're done.
You have to do
Can,
one for
can we
each.
work on this and present maybe at the next meeting?
Yeah, I just
That
wanted to
sound
bring
good?
up to the whole board. See,
Great.
is everybody good with us reworking
Absolutely.
this? And-
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yeah, so definitely.
Should I give a copy to our friend over here that we're giving the world to?
No,
I'll
definitely
send
not.
it to- I'll
Because he has
send
enough
it
on his
to
plate.
him.
Thank you.
I can hold on to it.
No.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
All right, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Bobby.
I just have nothing really from committee, just what Neil's report, and just want to remind everybody, the leaf pickup, this is the Friday it ends. So please make sure that after Friday, if you have leaves, you bring them to the transfer station, and don't leave them out in front for the plow to pick up, and it's going to make it miserable when snow comes. So that's and Neil is pretty much finished up on most of his flood work. Classic and Abbott Street areas, the sinkholes have been fixed. The St. Mary's Park, replaced several sidewalks, one on Abbott Street, two by St. Mary's Park, and finished seeding and putting soil and seed in the park. And repaired the south end of the greenway, and Waterworks Park area just need to be seeded. So other than that, we'll be back to plowing. Most of the trucks are ready for winter. We have a couple being repaired. One's at Delurie's and one right Neil is having a plow put on. Is that correct?
Getting rewired.
Rewired. Okay. So that's all I have.
Great. Ben?
Water-wise, everything going well. Some repairs have been done in the plant over the last month. There are some parts that need to fix one of the membrane filters that they're still waiting for. Hopefully this month sometime we'll be able to get it done.
Okay.
That's it.
Great.
Don't have anything else.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I did
Got out of the way earlier.
have to I reached out to CT Mail was it earlier this week. There was the boiler wasn't starting up in the GAC room. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Cold weather, but that's
Yeah, I talked to Jim and that's
working.
taken care of.
Very glad.
Yes.
So great. All right. Thank you. Okay. In that case, we're moving on to old business. Is this it right here? Okay. So a resolution here approving the standard work day for elected and appointed officials. Am I reading all this or all this?
You could read that.
I'll read all this. Be it resolved that the village, resolution 11-14, date 2017. Be it resolved that the village board be and hereby establishes the following as a standard work day for elected and appointed officials per requirement of the New York State Employees Retirement System. All elected officials, 7-hour workday. All appointed officials, code enforcement officer, 6.5-hour workday. Wastewater treatment plant operator, 8-hour workday. Police chief, 8-hour workday. Assessor, 7-hour workday. Court clerk, 7-hour workday. Be it further resolved that said standard is being established to meet the accounting requirements of the New York State Employees Retirement System for calculation of retirement benefit, and be it further resolved that the village clerk be and she hereby is authorized to send a certified letters or just certified resolution?
Send us certification.
Certification of this resolution, to the New York State Employees Retirement System. So I'm looking for a motion.
Motion.
For this resolution. Brian, second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
So just to clarify, this is we're submitting to the New York State Retirement System that based on, for us,
It's based on, well,
all elected officials, a 7-hour workday.
no, that's
Wait,
the
what
case.
is
They're
it?
count-
That's what it says,
No. That's
No.
probably comes out to a month or a year, 6 months. You have to do a calendar. We're waiting on Tommy to do his. His shows a 7-hour workday too. But it's broken down by your pay. There's a calculation in the retirement system where you
Okay.
do the 8 hours, whatever times your hours that you put in, it comes up with what you were allotted in the retirement system.
Okay. I know you have to set
Because
it.
I
You
know
have to set a-
the mayor does not work 7 hours a day.
I was gonna say it should be like 17.
Not here.
17 hours a day.
Not here.
17,
Oh.
20. Right.
But it's a
I don't wanna
part-time
go there.
job.
And we don't either. That's why I'm asking that. That's
right.
Right. But there is a calculation to it.
Okay, that's fine.
You can read the long part if you want to.
No, that's fine.
the
I just want to
calculation.
clarify
Yep.
what we're doing. That's all.
Makes sense. Any other questions?
It is.
Any discussion? All right, and roll call vote.
Yes.
Karen? Brian?
Yes.
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 Ben?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have the next resolution?
Yeah.
All right, resolution, date 11/14/2017. Whereas Section 2019-A of the Uniform Justice Court requires that village justices provide their records and dockets, and as such records be examined. Therefore, be it resolved that the required audit was conducted for the village of Hoosick Falls by Trustee Deputy Mayor Robert Ryan and presented to the village board. So first off, I'm looking for a motion.
Motion?
Second.
Get that, Bob Downing? Discussion?
I did the audit on October 24th with the court clerk, and it's been presented to Ann today from the court clerk. I have that's the original copy from her. I have a copy
I'm
here,
watching.
and everything was in accordance, so we're good as far
Is
as
your
the
T-sled
audit.
up to date yet?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Do you guys have copies or you want to peruse it? Any further questions, discussion? All right, we have the motion already, so roll call vote as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Kevin? Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, 62 Mechanic Street. We had some discussions with Mark and myself and Andy, and what we thought was the best move on this, because of, and correct me if I'm wrong, the board wants to put this out for bid in a way where we can make sure, in a sense, there's certain stipulations attached, with the idea of trying to move this forward, but still have the time to put these stipulations together. And Mark did a really nice report. I think it was yesterday on 62 Mechanic Street, and gave us an idea of the stuff that he's citing that needed to be done, and just an estimated cost of repair. What I'd like to ask for is a motion to advertise for bids for the sale of the property located at 62 Mechanic Street, with such bid terms and conditions to be determined by the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the code enforcement officer, and reviewed by the village attorney.
I'll make that motion.
Ben, thank you.
Second.
Kevin, thank you. The idea being this allows us to have the authority to put our minds together, come up with stipulations, and put it out for bid instead of waiting another month for the meeting.
Okay.
And we'll establish things like the required work timeline, cost, that sort of thing.
So if you don't get nobody to bid on that property, we tear it down?
Then we come back and have that discussion. Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
it's not as simple as tearing it down, because we already have the remediation costs of the asbestos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that's going to be very expensive. So,
Right.
So
But
right.
try it and see
If
what
nobody
happens.
bids on it,
Right. Right. And I think one of the stipulations we talked about was the ability to simply say no, we're not accepting this if it comes back for off or
And
something like
so
that.
I was going to say, so how's that work? If someone puts in a bid and it's not acceptable, we don't have to accept the bid,
That's
correct?
right.
If it's not what the value we want.
A standard provision that will be in the village request for bids going forward is that the village reserves the right to reject any and all bids.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's fairly standard.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Any further discussion on this?
Mayor, if I may, the point that I was trying to make by putting the cost estimates on there is just that there is this, I believe, a substantial investment that's going to be required on behalf of whoever does purchase the property.
Mhm.
So if I were looking at to purchase myself, I would sort of do the same thing that I did there, just to give myself a budget and have an idea of.
Right.
It gives us a good idea. No, it's very good, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, great. Okay. No more further discussion. In that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Because it's neighboring property to my mother's property, so I don't
Okay.
want to have any say in that.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. Okay. Motion carries, and we are now on to new business. This was a faux pas from last meeting where we approved a proposal that we thought we had when we confused it with something else. So we are looking for a motion to rescind the motion, approving a proposal submitted by MRB for the Snow Street Water Project.
Motion to rescind.
Ben?
Second.
Bobby? And he just nods and says okay. It's just a faux pas we're correcting. Any discussion, questions? We're about to shortly
Go back and
put a request
Right,
for
yeah.
bids. So our mistake. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. All right, motion carries. We already did the top motion on page 3 with the highway garage prior to that. So now we're looking for a motion to advertise a request for bids for the Snow Street
Motion.
Water Project.
Second.
Brian, Ben?
Wait.
Brian?
Sorry.
Brian,
Yep, and seconded by Ben.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we will make sure to include these have to be digital submissions as well as the. And any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You got a question?
Oh, sorry.
You've got to go out, this is a request for bids.
Yes.
You've got to go request for proposal. You've got to get an engineer first. Request for bids means you're going out to,
I think that's
Oh.
what we
that's what
had
you
was the
meant, but that's
request
not
for
what it says.
proposal.
Oh, this had that we did a motion. Okay, in that case, we need to have a motion to amend the motion to create a request for
Proposals.
proposals.
This should say proposals.
Yeah, so I
Is
need
it
to.
full moon?
It's something like that.
We are punchy.
So I need a motion to amend the motion.
Okay. Motion.
Second.
Bobby, Bob, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries. Now we can vote on the actual motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Advertising.
I do actually have one question. Is it? I don't know if this would be for you or for Ann here. If we wanted to tweak the plan, is that something that we can still do at this point?
What's going on here is just requesting proposals
Mhm.
and qualifications from engineering firms to provide engineering services.
Okay.
In general, those kinds of professional services are not required to be bid, but in this case, it's appropriate, there is state grant money involved.
Mhm.
So, in general, this will be simply qualifications, you still have the ability to tweak the project. This is
Okay.
merely for engineering services in connection with the project.
Okay.
Is that an RFQ, request for qualifications?
Nope,
Or
RFP.
RFP,
RFP.
request for proposal?
It's a request for proposal.
Okay.
That's what we just
But
amended.
that's
Thank
what
you.
it's gotta say.
Yep,
It does
we
now.
got it.
It does
It
now.
does now.
It
We,
does
we
now.
just did that. Yep. All right. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor of the original motion or the amended motion? Sorry. All in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Confused? All right. All
All the
right.
above.
Looking for a motion to contact the Rensselaer County Board of Elections, notifying them of the polling place within the village for the village election to be held March 20th, 2018 at the Municipal Building, 24 Main Street, between the hours of 12 noon and 9 p.m.
Motion.
Thank you, Ben. Looking for a second?
Second.
Bobby, any discussion?
Why don't we just tell Kevin?
I think Ann's already
That's
taken
who I
care of.
Hey, Kevin.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries. Great. So, Kevin, that. Motion to publish a notice designating, I'm looking for a motion, I'm sorry, to publish a notice designating the offices to be filled and the terms of office for the March 20th, 2018 village election.
Motion.
Ben?
Second.
Brian, any discussion?
Yeah, who's up for election?
Those
Not you.
Bob and Tom Racino.
Wait? No, not
Tom.
Racino.
Tom Rustino.
And Tom.
Yeah, the judge.
Are we adding that
Village
on?
justice.
Yeah,
too.
village
Four of
justice.
us.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I thought you were calling Ben Tom.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Tom would
No,
be
I know.
unhappy. Now look at your glasses.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Looking for a resolution authorizing a 1-year extension of the service agreement with the Eastern Rensselaer County Solid Waste Management Authorities, or SWAMA. I know you want that. Now, do you want me to
Is
go
that
through the whole
normal
thing?
for 1-year
No.
extension? We extend it every 1 year at a time?
It
or-
was 1 year at a time for 3 years.
Same
Okay.
amount of
That's how
money,
we
no
did it, but I
raise.
don't know what it is now.
Not
Okay.
that I went over this can of worms, but is
Same
it of value us to remain part of that, or can we just contract out for our own services?
Ugh.
You know what?
I'm just asking.
I think I would say
We
for
can-
now it's absolutely worth it if you want to look into that. But
Brian, you
No.
know, messing this
Unless you got a backup plan, Brian, you better stick with our proposal.
I'm just asking before I vote on
Yeah.
it.
That's
That's all
No,
right.
you're right. We tried that. You can do anything you want with Brian. We tried that many years ago.
All right, good thing I'm
Okay.
sitting by the door. Jesus.
All right.
And what is the cost per year for?
First month.
Yeah, it's the same as this year,
17,962.69, same exact as the 2017 share.
Hasn't gone up any.
Okay.
No one's changed. So, all right. Do I need to read the whole thing, or can I just go to the?
We'll give you the authority.
Reader's Digest.
I don't know if you're allowed to, but all right. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the members of the Village Board of Trustees to extend the SWAMA service agreement 1 year from the end of the current agreement. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's Bobby, second by Karen. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's roll call.
Roll
Oh,
call?
sorry.
Roll call.
Bob,
Not all in favor. Roll call.
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Karen, and Jeff.
I value my life. Yes.
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 Kevin.
He would.
Jeez.
All right. Thank you. You totally could have punched me when I didn't get the roll call. You should have taken it. All right, utility adjustments. Looking for a motion to adjust water and sewer charges for property located at 34 Cary Avenue. Leak was detected and a receipt for repair was presented. Credit the December bill for water in the amount of $24.30 and sewer for $25.03.
Motion.
Ben?
Second.
Second, Bob Downing. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries. You get it? Carries.
No.
Oh, knock knock. Who's there?
Another one
guy,
looking
Mayor.
for a motion. So we have a property located at 25 Griffin Avenue. Meter body not working properly. Water department has changed it out. Looking for a motion to adjust water and sewer charges for this property and credit the December billing for water in the amount of $86.10 and the sewer for the amount of $24.31.
Motion.
Second.
Bobby.
Bob?
No, and Brian. Bobby and
Go
Brian.
ahead, make this one funny.
I don't know. Your
All right.
voice is low tonight. I keep thinking it's Ben.
Wow.
What's your problem?
Come on, man.
All right, any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
I have nothing funny about that.
Griffin the water
was
bill
waiting.
down.
There you go.
There
All
you
right.
go.
I'm looking for a motion to levy unpaid outsized water rents to the 2018 town tax bill.
Motion.
Is that outside the village of rent, so they're not getting paid?
Right.
Is that what it is? It's
That's
not,
right.
nothing to do with the village?
Yep.
So motion from Ben,
Second.
Karen. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Motion to levy unpaid village taxes to the 2018 town tax bill.
Why does that go to the town?
Because they do the billing
Let's
for accounting.
we'll do the motion, then we'll explain. Because I had the same question.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, Bobby, motion, Ben, second. And this is the normal approach for it goes to the town, then eventually goes to the county, and the county is the one who ends up
Yeah, that's true.
paying us in the process. And exact same question. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carries. Great. In that case, before I do the motion to go into executive session, I want to again thank EPA and Ski Solutions for coming up here. Is this your sign out here? So if you haven't gotten your name on there and your information is right there, there's additional handouts there if you're a student who needs to get signed up on Gravis. Thanks, sir. I'm sure this was an exciting meeting. Looking for a motion to go into an executive session to discuss potential litigation. I didn't even finish. I have no idea who it was.
You wonder why I can't keep cool.
Bob Downing and Ben for the seconds.
No.
We hope our representatives from the state enjoyed the show.
All right. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
And
Carries. Thank you.
this is yours, Robert.